I must say, if you're in a bad mood or feeling down, music can help. It definitely would change you. You can't rock and get into music and still be depressed. At least not for me. Kind of forces you into a different mindset and mood. That's why I kind of start off every show getting my mood together because we have an amazing conversation in store and I'm excited about it. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Get to Know Bob, this amazing platform where we do just that. We get to know some phenomenal Bobs throughout our community. We get to find out who they are, what they do, and most importantly, why. Why do they do what they do? Because that's what's going to drive them. That's what's going to keep them engaged in doing the work, even when they get tired and feel like they don't want to. The why is what's going to continuously propel you. And so I want you to connect to them because of their why. That means that they're doing what they do for you. I am your host, Sonia M. Weaver, and I am just, whoo, gotta tell you, I'm on this. Well, I've been on a plant-based journey. Those who know me already know that. I did backslide a little bit, but I was very serious for close to like 3 years where it was strictly if it had blood, came from blood, didn't eat it, and then no dairy. Now, getting this kickstart for June, it is the plant-based lifestyle. So what I just said, if it had blood or came from blood and dairy, don't eat it. But on these 30 days, it's an SOS challenge. No salts, no oils, no sugar. And let me tell you, baby, you don't even realize how much things that you think are good for you, natural, or hit the vegan chart, either have salts, oils, or sugars. I'm telling you, I went to get me a bag of unsalted cashews. Cashews, right? Was like, woohoo! Found some with no salt. Flipped over the label. Do you know they have canola oil? Or some kind of oil. I just was like, are you kidding me? Why couldn't it just say cashews? Just cashews. So, yes, it has been a challenge. And I needed today just a resemblance of normalcy because I love fruits and vegetables. But I started 5 days ago and I'm already getting burnt out. So I have to order me some new seasonings and I need to order me some new things so I can keep my interest going for these 30 days. Because what tends to happen is that if your food doesn't have that interest, if it doesn't have that pizzazz, or something that excites you, that's where you feel like, oh, this is dreadful. You want to enjoy your food. So I had to dig back out, yes, the plant-based foodie, so I can have recipes. Recipes are huge. Recipes help you stay on task because you're tantalizing your palate, right? So I will say I had to try a new fruit or vegetable this week. So I tried dates. I never tried them before. Just didn't think I would like them. And they okay. It's kind of like a fruit, I guess. I just never had it. And it might be a dried, like plums are dried. I mean, prunes are dried plums or something like that. So maybe a date is a dried fruit that I am familiar with because it wasn't that bad. So that's my journey. You'll see some posts and different things that I'm making. So pray for a sister while she's on these 30-day journey. It is really to kickstart my health. And definitely, I know I can do it. One thing as a coach that I need to let you guys know is that you can't expect to manage anything else if you can't manage yourself. So this is definitely my test of self-management. So I am excited about that. And the other thing that I did this weekend is I had the opportunity. If you guys missed it, you missed it. I went to Uh, it's time to hatch. The refresh, release, restore, renew, and it was right just in it. No frills, no fluff. We got right into it. Start attacking. What are you excited about that's about to hatch? And baby, let me tell you, I am so excited. When I left there, I was on fire. Started on Monday on fire, and things are hatching. I'm telling you, if you do the work and you've been consistent, you're in that eggshell, right? You're in that shell and you're doing it, and things are happening. But you got to break out the shell at some point. You got to hatch in order for you to move forward. So I'm really was excited about attending that event and just getting myself prepared to hatch. Yes. So we're going to start off tonight's show, but of course, I got to remind you, if you missed last week, we had a wonderful conversation. The show was entitled Mind Matters, Candid Conversations on Mental Health, and we were speaking with the phenomenal Dr. Michelle Lano. This replay is going to reboot either this week or next week on our social media platforms. So you can either see it on Facebook or on LinkedIn. You can catch the replay live, or you can always go over to our YouTube channel and watch it anytime you choose on that platform as well. On tonight's show, we will be speaking with the one and only Mr. Kenneth Scott of CSW Real Estate. And our conversation topic, among other things, will be living the dream, brick by brick, to home ownership. So welcome, Ken. How are you? Unmute. Got us muted.
I am doing great, Sonia. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you. So glad to have you. Now you
Good to be here.
are a veteran on the show, so I'm going to pull this up. This is now I don't even think all of them. Okay, so
Two, three,
I'm
four,
doing this
five.
in case, yes, because you drop different nuggets all the time. So in case something doesn't get said, I want people to know you can go. I mean, in 2022, I don't know what was going on in 2022, but it must have been right something with home ownership because we had you
Absolutely.
on four different times. We had you May 4th, June 1st, September 7th, and then September 20th, along with Tanisha. And
I know
then
exactly what it was.
what was going on?
It was the United Developers Conference that we had in Detroit down in Motor City Casino.
Okay, but I mean, for the whole year, it was different things must have been going because
Yeah,
we
we were having multiple home buying seminars as well as culminating with the development seminar in October.
gotcha. Okay. And then most recently, it would have been April 5th of 2023. So,
That
guys,
was
if you,
Realtor Suite.
yes. So, guys, yes, make sure you check out any previous episodes with Mr. Kenneth Scott. But right now, we're going to do what we normally do and give him the floor so he can self introduce and share a little bit about who he is, what he enjoys doing, and then, of course, his reason of why he does what he does.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation, Sonia. Um, my name is Ken Scott. I am a former president of the Greater Detroit Realtors Association, former president of the Detroit Association of Realtors. I'm a real estate broker for my company, CSW Real Estate, also a HUD certified housing counselor, as well as one of the individuals that is really knowledgeable about the home buying process in the housing perspective in general. One of the things that we always want to do is provide hope, access, and opportunity for those individuals that are seeking home ownership that don't have a way of doing it. The hope is to make sure that despite your circumstances, your present circumstances, you have the opportunity to own a home, You have access to the knowledge and expertise of all those individuals that we rely on in order to help you attain home ownership, and by all means, the opportunity to enjoy it. So, one of the things we want to do is make sure that we give multiple seminars, multiple workshops throughout the year that meets you where you are, basically. Whether it be at WC3, whether it be at Marygrove, whether it be at your church, whether it be at your school, whatever the case may be, we want to make sure that you know the correlation between Black home ownership and Black wealth, and make sure that you have the opportunity to enjoy it.
I love that. Now I do have a question because both titles then you said former. So is that a, a short term in both of those roles? Is that how that works?
Both were term limited.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know you have passion for the work you do. So I know you
That's ongoing, Sonia. You know that. That's definitely ongoing.
yes it is. Yes it is. I want you to share a little bit because you closed out saying that you said Black home ownership and the correlation to Black wealth. Do you mind taking a moment to expand what that statement you made?
Absolutely. Most of our community are generational renters, meaning that uh, from our standpoint to our parents' standpoint to our grandparents' standpoint and our ancestors, we were renters, or we were individuals that had the opportunity to rent but never saw fit to become homeowners and attain the equity that would be amassed if you were a homeowner. Sure enough, you may have put money into someone else's dream, invested in someone else's dream, but the really key thing is to invest in your own dream.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you're doing something for yourself, your family, your community that stabilizes that community, and in doing so, you attain wealth because everyone is on the same page. Everyone wants to attain equity in their home at some point in time. And the more you pay down your mortgage, the more you attain equity in the home. Or the more the sales increase in your respective communities, the more you attain equity in your home. So we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to enjoy it, but at the same time, the opportunity to take advantage of it as well.
Awesome. Yes. And you mentioned a point in that about the wealth related to it. One thing that I jotted down here was I know a lot of people are afraid, not so much of thinking that they might can't get into a home, but then they have a fear about maintaining once they get into a home and whether or not then that is now going to take up majority of their income. I believe they have this idea that in renting there's some security or safety. So can you kind of elaborate on that fear that people have that they will be either unable to maintain or somehow become cash poor?
Okay, absolutely. When you move into a rental property, you have the benefit, hopefully, of someone doing the maintenance, doing the security of the home on the exterior of the home, but at the same time, you have to maintain the interior of the home. Hopefully, you're not dealing with a slum landlord. Hopefully, you're not dealing with a situation that's unhealthy and unsafe for you in order for you to rent that property. But at the same time, what's different from that in home ownership is that that responsibility falls upon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the reason why you attain equity, because after all the time that you've put in someone else's investment, now you're putting in yours. And the more your property is maintained properly, secured properly, and is attaining equity in the time that you have it, hopefully within the 30 years or whenever you want to sell it, then that's when the sweat equity comes in. That's when the knowledge comes in. That's where the the latitude as far as using your equity to address other issues like your children's education, like vacations, like other things that you want to attain. You cannot do that with being a renter. Renter is only temporary. And keep in mind that a lot of our community has moved from location to location.
Hmm.
And in doing so, we haven't gained any stability in our communities. This
Yeah.
is an opportunity where if you put a stake in the ground and what have you and say, this is mine, and that's why I do home buying seminars that say keys to own. This is mine, and no one can take it away from me. And during the course of the 30 years or whenever you want to sell it, you are attaining equity. You are attaining power in your dollar. Your buying power has increased over that length of time.
So, Kim, when we come back, because we're going to take a short break,
Hmm.
you mentioned equity, and I want you to explain that simple kindergarten terms when we come back about what that looks like, and then elaborate for the person watching who's later in life and they are still might be a first home ownership, let's say in their 50s. Equity takes time, I'm sure, to build.
Hmm.
So, we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit more when we get back as we take
Okay.
a break to recognize our core businesses and some events that are coming up. We'll be right back.
With Crystal L. Gunn, financial strategist. Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your daily dose of financial empowerment. A journey towards financial wisdom and small business mastery.
Get your family together for financial night or grab your tribe and get flawless with financial strategist Crystal L. Gunn. Schedule your night today.
Friday night decompression session hosted by Sonia M. Weaver and Jason Integrity. Celebrate the wins, let go of the stress, vent, share, and encourage. Register today on Facebook or Alignable by searching for the BE Black Entrepreneurs Group.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to YouTube, search for Deals with Bob, and click the subscribe button.
We're back. Okay, so this word equity.
Yes.
In my mind, I'm thinking like I paid X amount for the house, I paid that down, and now the house is worth this, and the difference is my equity. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Say your mortgage is $1,000 per month. At the end of a year, you've amassed $12,000. At the end of 2 years, 24,000. At the end of 3 years, 36,000. Now that equity is building each and every year that you own the property. Now that's free and clear, and possibly will allow you to refinance it to the point where you attain even more equity in the home. If your interest rate is high and you want to lower that payment, then that opportunity exists as well. But at the same time, equity is just paying down the house note to the point where you have some things that are left over as far as the payments are concerned.
Okay, okay. Now, my second question before the break, you have a new homeowner, person never owned a home, and they're in their 50s. So
Mhm.
you're talking about equity.
Congratulations.
That doesn't appeal to me if I'm like, I'm in my 50s or, well, I'm now, I don't even know if there's any in their 60s, but I do know people in their 50s. That's why I put it out
I know
there.
some people in their 60s, but at the same
Because
time,
you're like, I can't, I mean, you can't say what's going to happen, but you're going to be retiring possibly soon and all this. You're talking about building equity. How much time does it really take? Kind of talk about to that person.
that person has never owned a home, never had an opportunity to own a home for someone like themselves, someone that has children. Those children will get up age and what have you. You're paying down that note, attaining equity again. But at the same time, you have an opportunity to pass that investment on to your children or onto your child or your children, whatever the case may be. And you have the opportunity to instill in them the opportunity that you've had, even however late it was, you have an opportunity to pass that on. Other communities have done it on a consistent basis, on a generational basis in a lot of instances. We have just become generational renters. They
Mm-hmm.
become generational home buyers or homeowners. Okay. And that's why they've amassed so much equity in their home, so much wealth within their finances, that they can do things that we are not able to do because we did not prepare for that opportunity. Preparation meets opportunity every day, all day.
Now, last question about equity, because I've heard this mentioned, and I love one reason I can have you back because I get all these different questions in between. So
Okay.
they like, I was not able to get the equity out of my house.
Okay.
I have no idea really what that means. But is 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 there multiple ways that you can get the equity out? I think they were trying to refinance in order to get it out, but they were like, according to what they owed and what it was appraised for, it was like over $100,000 difference. And then but they were going to only, after everything was said and done, maybe be able to get 9,000. So they was like, no, forget it. So why weren't they able to get equity then if it said it had that much there?
Well, there's always a time and a place to get equity. In a down market, it's not the time, obviously, because you want to buy low, sell high if you have it, or at least finance to the point where you can get something out of it. But at the same time, hopefully, the property that you've invested in, the property that you bought, has appreciated over that time. Now, if you're in a down market and what have you, there's no way in the world that is going to appreciate to the extent that it would in a appreciating level as far as the values of homes in the area. Detroit values have gone up tremendously over the last year. The mayor even held a press conference talking about the value going up. But at the same time, we have to know that that value has gone up, and it's an asset to us as it relates to the value of the home, as it relates to the quality of life that we want to lead, as well as the wealth that we want to attain.
Gotcha. So we saw in the clips the financial strategist Crystal Gunn, and
Okay.
I know you of all people understand
Hmm.
financial strategy as it pertains to home ownership.
Absolutely. And I know Crystal as well.
Awesome. What can you tell people watching? What should their financial strategy be when they are serious about home ownership?
Absolutely. You touched on something earlier on in the conversation that most people have one obstacle right up front, and that's fear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fear will either dampen our spirits or make us really happy about what we do, what the choices we make. Unfortunately, in our community, fear has run rampant because we've heard Pookie and Ray Ray say that home ownership is not for us, but they didn't have an opportunity to attain the wealth that a home owner would have. Uh, they want to live free and do the things that they want to do and be as mobile as possible. Uh, Home ownership is consistent. It requires a discipline in order to buy a home, stay in that home, allow that home to work for you. It's basically a forced savings account where you can't keep taking money out of it, but you are investing in it. And after a while and what have you, that investment starts working for you. So um, you always want to take those things into account when you're making an investment of your own.
Gotcha. Now, in your opinion,
Hmm.
Is there ever a time when your home can become a liability?
When you are not maintaining it, when you are not paying on it, when you are in an adverse situation where the what do you call it, the exterior um, obsolescence of the home, meaning that something that you cannot control, meaning the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
is causing your equity to be eaten up.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, it's depreciating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you always want to be in a situation where it's advantageous for you to
Right.
live in that property. Is that property giving you everything that you need? The wealth building, the stability, the uh, the uh, empowering you as far as what your goals are in the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At the time that it's not, I would suggest that you sell and sell faster than just holding on to it.
Well, that's why I asked. For the ones who might have home ownership, because we had it more at one point in the past where
Oh,
it was the
absolutely.
thing to do, and they're
Detroit
holding
was
on
the
to them for dear life. But then I'm like, okay, should you keep it? Because it's just not in any condition. I mean, to what would take to like restore it seems more of a liability than an asset.
well. I always use this analogy. If there are 10 houses on a block and 9 of those 10 are in deferred maintenance or ill repair, that's going to bring your value down.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in just the opposite, where 9 are in a very um, good situation as far as neighborhood stability and what have you, and yours is the 10th house that is then deferred maintenance, your value is going to go up because of the other 9.
Right. I mean
Okay.
that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. But you
Otherwise,
and I know. You and I know where we seen like it's the one where it be like,
it's the one house.
what in the world? Like, and everything surrounding. It's
And,
like,
I'll give you a good example of that. I have an investor that is selling the home on the west side. Next to him, all hell is breaking loose. Okay? All hell is breaking loose. But what he's done with that home has turned it into the gym on the block. Now, he could easily forego maintenance and security of the home next door. But one of the things that he chose to do was, while he was maintaining the lawn that he has of his own property, he cut the grass on either side of him
mm-hmm.
because that is a reflection on the value that you are trying to amass. So when he started cutting the grass of those other 2, it made his stand out even more so.
Mm-hmm.
And for the short period of time, it made the neighborhood look stable.
Gotcha.
And that's what all of us need to do. Whether we are renting or homeowners and we have a house next door to us that's in deferred maintenance or all hell is breaking loose and the grass needs to be cut, the property needs to be cleaned up or whatever the case may be, even if it's just the facade of the property. Clean up the facade of the property and watch your value go up, if not for any other reason than perception.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, Kim, before I ask the next question, we're going to acknowledge some more of our core businesses and the events that are
Absolutely.
coming up. So we'll be
By
right
all
back.
means.
In celebration of National Homeownership Month, 2024 Homebuyer Fair. Saturday, June 8 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Huntington Place, 1 Washington Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Giving you keys to home ownership. Guest speaker, Michael Eric Dyson. Register today on Eventbrite.
Attention girl dads. Linked wants you to come beat and bond with your daughter for Father's Day. Saturday, June 8, 2024 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Caroline Kennedy Library, 25490 George Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. You're the world to your daddy's girl.
Millionaire Mindset Movement Gala, Saturday, June 8th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Join this elegant evening of dinner, awards, networking, and empowerment at the prestigious Hotel St. Regis, Detroit, 3071 West Grand Boulevard. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. Presenting yet another legendary BOSS endorsed event. This is hip hop, this is battle rap. Money Management 2 in conjunction with Money Machine Virtual League. June 15th. We are the goal.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to YouTube, search for Deals with Bob, and click the subscribe button.
We're back. So, there's an event I see coming up.
Yes, it is.
And I know you have more details that you would like to share specifically about it.
Very much so. For those of you that don't know, June is National Homeownership Month. And one of the things that we always do, whether it's various organizations that I'm dealing with and what have you, we always take time to celebrate the month of June, because June gives us that mark that we need, that stimulus that we need, that motivation that we need in order to become homeowners. We attend home buying fairs across the city. There are going to be a number of them represented by various entities that I'm aware of, that I'm a part of, and that I always will endorse. This one in particular is done with Project Reach. It's a organization that is with National Faith Home Buyers, Southwest Solutions, which is now called I can't think of the term. I can't think of the new name now. And Detroit Future City. One of the things that we want you all to do is go down to Huntington Place this Saturday from 10 to 3. Find out about the possibilities of home ownership, being able to buy a home using the mortgages, the down payment assistance that's available to every one of us at this point in time. Also, there are going to be housing counselors in the place. In the event that you're not ready for home ownership right now, we want to make sure that you get ready, meaning that you have an opportunity to prepare to get ready for home ownership. We're giving you the keys to home ownership, whether it be through one of the many outlets of DHN, which is Detroit Housing Network, which is a network of housing counseling agencies that are HUD approved. Also, we have most of the financial institutions that are in the metropolitan area as it relates to banks. There's some mortgage companies. There's going to be some realtors. There's going to be some home inspectors. There's going to be some title companies, what have you. So all the tools that you need to become a homeowner are going to be present at this home buying seminar down at Huntington Place, the old Coble Hall, for those people that are not afraid to tell their age.
I know, right? It comes out of my mouth all the time. I think
and there's going to be a raffle.
I still haven't said Huntington. I think it doesn't come first.
It's growing on me, but at the same time, I know what it was. So
it's just when I think of it, that's what comes out, and I'm like, oh wait, that's not what it's called. Wait, what's it called? And people are like, oh, when are you gonna get it? I'm like, yeah, I know, right?
Exactly.
Oh, but okay, so for people who might be watching, again, we're gonna not assume so much.
Uh-huh.
What does HUD? Because that's the first thing that was listed.
Uh-huh.
Who does HUD target? How would I know I'm HUD approved or I'm in the brackets of HUD? What is HUD and what do they look for?
Okay. The Department of Housing, Urban Development is meant to prepare people, regardless of your station in life, regarding home ownership, housing in general, meaning that they can help you with being a renter. They can help you being in home ownership or a home buyer. They can also help you with land contracts, what have you. They look out for uh, your purpose, your station in life, regardless of what your station in life is, to make sure that you're prepared to become whatever you want to be, but at the same time, make sure that that housing is not only safe but doesn't allow it to be discriminated against as well. Because we work hand in hand with the Fair Housing Center of Southeastern Michigan in metropolitan Detroit, we want to make sure that whatever you attain, meaning that you do a rental, you do a home, whatever the case may be, is safe for you, is in your good welfare and your best interest in order to attain whatever possibilities you want to get. The other thing is HUD also makes sure that preparation meets opportunity. And I can't say that enough because for those individuals, and there are more of them than there are homeowners. We want to make sure that regardless of your situation presently, that you know how to budget, how to improve your credit, how to look out for mortgages that are advantageous to you, how to look out for down payment assistance programs that will make home ownership affordable and allow you to buy the home. That's the reason why I said hope, access, and opportunity. Hope to know that you can attain home ownership despite your present circumstances, access to the tools that HUD provides as it relates to getting you ready for home ownership, and also the opportunity to enjoy it once you've attained it.
Gotcha, gotcha. So we had a comment come in while you were talking,
Okay.
and it said, "I'm considering selling."
Okay.
So from some of the things that we've mentioned with that comment, we've talked about the market and is it whether you would consider maybe is this a good time or not. The second part of is like I'm considering selling my house. What should I do first?
The other thing is, as it relates to that, know what the market conditions are. Is it a buyer's market in your geographical area or your neighborhood, whatever the case may be, or a seller's market?
And who would be the best person to give you that honest answer?
A seasoned real estate professional, whether they be an agent or a broker, that knows the area that you're presently living in, knowing that the whether the values are going up like we discussed, or the values are going down, or maybe they're even stabilized. But at the same time, also, I would be remiss to say to if you don't know where you're going, where you're going to move before you start selling your property, then
The, from this particular person, this is not the primary resident.
okay, if that's the case and what have you, and that property is something that you've attained either through taxes, investment, um, the land bank, whatever the case may be, or it's just a personal property that was bequeathed to you or given to you by a relative or a friend or whatever the case may be. If that's the case and what have you, it's always a good time to sell. And one of the good reasons about what we do is we bring people's consciousness toward down payment assistance programs. For those individuals that are looking for properties, and believe me, there's a lack of inventory that's out there presently, we want to make sure that that property is something that a person wants to buy. If you've kept it up, if it requires less deferred maintenance than any other property in the area or in the block or whatever the case may be, then it may be one of those properties that sell fairly quickly. But at the same time, if it needs a lot of maintenance, you might want to suggest that if you put it on the market, that it's accessible to someone that has an opportunity to do a renovation loan. And if that's the case and what have you, it's going to sell faster because people are looking for inventory right now and good quality homes, meaning that they're up to code, whether it be the structural, whether it be the mechanicals of electrical, plumbing, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. If those things are in place and what have you, chances are, and they're in a pretty stable area, then it probably will sell fast. But at the same time, if it's any of those things that are deferred and what have you, or the area is not stable, that may have a great deal to do with whether it's marketable at this point in time.
Okay. So it sounds like the first step that you would suggest is to get a seasoned professional person to begin working with, and then they can let you know some of those things you just talked about, right? Am I hearing that correctly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I go in and assess the property based on the property itself first, and then the stability of the neighborhood, and then we provide the comps that are necessary for you to assess whether the value is there in order for you to sell. If it's an investment property and it's something that you want to get rid of, sometimes comps may not be the predominant issue. It may be that you want a certain amount of the equity out of the property, or you want to just make a certain amount of money out of the property. If that's the case and what have you, we'll suggest that as well. That might make it even sell even faster.
Got it. So we got our last segment as we go into before we round out the show. I do have one question that I want to leave you to think about before we come back and be prepared to elaborate. Back in the day, it seems like people knew, I want to buy a house. I got to go to the bank and get me a loan so I can get this house. Seems like that's not all that's out there when it comes to home ownership. So I want you to begin when we come back to share some additional options that people just may not be aware of when it comes to getting you into your home and getting that mortgage. Okay. We'll be right back.
Juneteenth 2024 Book Fair, presented by Detroit Book City. Saturday, June 22nd, 2024 from 12 noon to 5 p.m. at the historic People's Community Church, 8601 Woodward Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. Free admission, RSVP on Eventbrite.
SOL Garden Creations and Aqua Creations, STEM Bioengineering Summer Camp. June 24th through August 2nd. Monday through Friday 8:30 a.m. through 5 p.m. Ernest T. Ford Recreational Center. Free to the public, seats are limited. Register today. For more information, contact Jacqueline Lindsay at 248-795-5409.
Bassman Productions presents a funk rhythm and soul concert featuring Full Circle and special guests. Saturday, June 29, 2024 from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Secondra's Place, 12325 Hamilton Avenue, Highland Park, Michigan. Admission $25. Come get P-funked.
BUF of Michigan and Ford Philanthropy Youth Careers Exploratory Academy exciting summer program. July 22nd through July 26th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Fisher Magnet Upper School East, 15491 Madeline Street, door number 5, Detroit, Michigan. Registration deadline is June 20th. For more information, contact Dr. Linda McLean at 313-894-2200.
Let us support you in your event by adding it to our Stay Connected segments and encouraging community support. Visit www.dealswithbob.com or call us today.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to YouTube, search for Deals with Bob, and click the subscribe button.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah, those were some
Okay.
excellent programs, Sonia.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not doing the law. It's people send me the information, and we get the core members going up, and they get these wonderful announcements about what they're doing. So,
Absolutely. Let me suggest something. I created a nonprofit years ago called Community Resource Forum, and then I created the Facebook page for it. It's called Community Resource Forum, bringing resources to your community. And that page has grown over the last 14 years, and is basically for nonprofits and entities that are in the community, just to highlight some of the activities that are going on in the community.
okay.
And they can always utilize that as a platform to make people aware of their various events and activities.
Thank you for that. Didn't know it.
Yep.
Community Resource Forum.
Bringing resources to your community.
Got it.
Yeah,
So it's more than just the banks, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. For a while, we had the perception that banks were the only ones that loaned you uh, money to buy a home. Um, there are so many entities now: banks, credit unions. There's a nonprofit that's Opportunity Resource Fund that I use on a regular basis. They've been in business for a number of years. They have a program called Fresh Start. It's for those individuals that don't have established credit, or don't have a credit to the point where it's traditional credit. They're going on your character, the payments that you've made over the last 12 to 24 months, and if you paid your bills on time. There are a lot of entities out there presently that go on alternative or non-traditional credit, where if you haven't established credit in the past, they will use the statements that you've paid as far as your rent, your utilities, your insurance, your cable bill, your cell phone bill, whatever the case may be. As long as you can put together a consistent level of paper trail, then those individuals can help you attain home ownership. And you don't have to have that 700, 800 credit score. I mean, that's a misnomer in this market. Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and Federal Home Loan Bank of Indianapolis, which are government sponsored entities, help fund the banks that we go to now. A lot of those banks are in our respective community. There's another community bank being built presently in our community that will be up and running in October, and it's in the heart of the neighborhood, or what we call the hood in some cases, and what have you. But at the same time, the value that it presents is, first and foremost, they took the opportunity to put it in our neighborhood. So they have to come correct. And in doing so, they have to loan to our respective community, whether it be for mortgages, whether it be for loans, whether it be HELOCs, whatever the case may be. Uh, they're receptive to loaning in our community. Then you have the mortgage brokers, of which there are so many I can't even name, because I deal with a lot of them on a different levels. But at the same time, the opportunity exists for you to attain a mortgage as well as get down payment assistance upward of, say, uh, 10,000 to almost $55,000 if
Wow.
you stack those down payment assistance programs. And
Wow.
that's what makes home ownership affordable. So
Mm.
don't go in saying, "Oh, I got to pay for the closing costs myself," or whatever the case may be. Go in thinking that there's another entity that is going to provide down payment assistance for you that is going to help hopefully buy down not only your mortgage but your interest rate as well, and making that home ownership more affordable. I had a client that was paying $1,200 in rent. Now they're paying $500 in the mortgage.
Wow.
My question to most individuals is, what could you do with an extra $700
Exactly.
per month?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's where we want to go. That's why we want to build equity by building home ownership in our respective
Yeah.
communities.
And my financial hat would say, if you were paying that and you were living pretty comfortably and getting doing the things you enjoy doing, then invest.
Correct.
Put that into a good mutual fund or IRA or something.
Or pay down your existing debt.
Exactly. It's just so
Pay
many
it off.
ways where that just frees up that financial wealth possibility for the future that we were talking about. Awesome.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So Ken, we're like 4 minutes out, and
Yeah,
what I want
this
you
hour
to
has gone by fast.
it's a quick hour. Doesn't take as long as some other hours take.
I
What
mean,
I
wow.
want you to share, this type of work, I know sometimes you probably beat your head against the wall, like, because you're dealing with people where you feel they have heads that are like brick walls. What
Well,
keeps you
some
encouraged?
what keeps me encouraged is to know that my community deserves better. My
Mm,
community knows should be more enlightened than in the past. Um,
mm,
what they are not aware of, I try to make them aware of it, make sure that it's valuable to them, it's an asset to them to know that if I can get you in a home for $500 where you are paying $1,200 a month in rent, then it's worth it.
mm.
If I'm
Yeah.
saving you money and saving you time and giving you other opportunities to look at the other quality of life issues that you deal with every day, it's worth my time.
Hmm.
So you have to look at it from that standpoint and say that the overall goal is to stabilize our communities
Hmm.
and be able to invest in our own opportunities as opposed to investing in someone else's.
Yes, perfectly said. Now, you know the question that I always ask. So see if you're already prepared for it.
Oh Lord, I forgot. Okay, let me see what's on my shelf right now. Uh, oh, I
We
did.
can't say it now. I believe in. Then we got to throw out the
Oh,
knowledge and that reading and educational piece. So that's why I have to
absolutely.
always ask. Always
All right,
ask.
all right. This book um, was a surprise gift to me, and I'm a fan of Motown and Motown music and Berry Gordy and everyone associated with Motown. I always, in the month of April, always go by the Motown Museum and get me a different hat every year.
So you're
And
not gonna clown me
no, 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 no. Understand
if
this.
I say
This
I
was
have
this was
never
what?
been
No, what?
to the
Oh
Motown.
God, God, you got to be kidding, Sonia.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
ride away. You ride around it every week. Go inside. I'm telling you, it's an experience, especially
Mm,
now that they've added the other buildings.
mm.
Okay, on West Grand Boulevard.
Yeah.
So I went in Motown Museum and I'm looking for some. I'm looking for my hat. I got my hat, and all of a sudden I look down and there's a lot of CDs. So what did I get? I got the Commodores and I got somebody else. And all of a sudden, I walk out and the bag is a little heavier than I thought. And then I looked at my receipt and I was like, what's going on? They had given me a book. It's called Barry Gordy, To Be Loved: The Music, the Magic, the Memories of Motown, an
Hmm.
autobiography.
Okay.
I was extremely pleased and what have you because it was first and foremost, it was a surprise. But at the same time, for anyone that has thought of themselves as an entrepreneur, thought of them as creating um, a thing of value in our community, whether it be a good or a service, this man has the ultimate good in service. Not
Hmm.
only did he provide us with music, but he provided us with joy by listening to
Yeah.
it. And I don't think there's a better um, gift that you can give anyone other than love, but the love of music.
And I
And
kind of talked about that in the intro.
yeah,
When you hear that music and you start,
absolutely, absolutely,
it's hard to
and
stay down.
exactly. And you can't count the number of songs that that man has been instrumental in as far as
Hmm.
creating that Motown sound, that sound of Detroit, but also just giving us joy where we are dancing in the street.
I
So,
I love it.
so
I love it.
that has given me joy in the sense that I didn't even think about purchasing it, but at the same time, I had the opportunity to read some of it, and now I understand some of the things that I didn't know before. But at
Mhm.
the same time, it's given me joy.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Now, before we go into how to connect with you and the final remarks,
Okay.
some other question that came in that said, "What about flipping my home that I'm not living in?"
Okay. If you have the opportunity to invest in it, if you want to know how to flip it properly, because there are some individuals that are out there that putting together a home that say is move-in ready, but at the same time, the walls don't meet the ceiling and the walls don't meet the floor, and you expecting top dollar and everything. Before you do that, let me give you a list of things to put in that home to make sure that you've taken care of that home to the extent where someone else finds it as pleasing and as investable as you did, so you can get the maximum value out of it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So it sounds like either way, if they plan on kind of like just getting the evaluation for selling it, because flipping it in essence is you're still going to sell it. So it
Absolutely.
sounds like what we said in the beginning, you would come out, work with a seasoned person, let them do a walkthrough, evaluate it, and they can be the best person, let you know what needs to be done in order for you to get the type of dollars back that you're looking for.
Absolutely. And that's from the exterior to the interior, knowing what your budget is and making sure that you can make all those things happen in a short period of time to make it fundable.
Gotcha. Awesome. So, Ken, two things. How can people connect to you? And
Uh,
then what final remarks do you have?
my phone number is 313-819-7065.
I'm going to put that in the chat again. You said 313
819-7065.
65.
Correct.
All righty.
And if you have some free time on Saturday between 10 and 3, I will be moderating some sessions down at the Huntington Place from 10 to 3. And you have an opportunity to speak to me as well as other real estate professionals, mortgage lenders, um, banks, insurance companies, title companies, um, inspectors, what have you, housing counselors, to make sure that you're on the right path to home ownership. And pretty soon, Let me let you know this. Pretty soon, I would say at the end of this month, or if not early July, the city of Detroit will be announcing that they have the $25,000 down payment assistance program back, and that you, as a home buyer, can take advantage of that. So home ownership can be made attainable, but attain it more affordably by the end of this month. So you have to be there. Come in, get the knowledge. Like I said, preparation meets opportunity. If you're not prepared, the opportunity usually comes at a deficit or a later time. You want to make sure that you have the tools to work with right off the bat. So that's Saturday, June 8th, from 10 to 3 at the Huntington Place, the old Cobo Hall. And I put Cobo Hall in GPS and it came up.
I'm not surprised.
In other words, is 1 Washington Boulevard. Okay, 1 Washington Boulevard. Come up at the Larned exit and everything, take a loop, go up the roof and everything, come down, get the information, go back to the roof, take off, and feel empowered.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Ken, for another amazing episode. I want to also say thank you to some of the
Thank
core
you.
members and sponsored of tonight's show. We have Sonia and Weaver Coaching, Tranquility Christian Counseling, Linked LLC, and Bright Tech Communications. And if you have not already done so, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, you're going to search Deals with Bob. Then you're going to click the subscribe button. While you're there, make sure you click the notification bell. It'll let you know every time that we go live on our YouTube platform for amazing shows, just like the one we're having right now. I want you guys, if you're seriously in thinking about home ownership or know anyone who seriously is thinking about it or needs to think about it, they should be at Huntington Place this Saturday. If you can't make it this Saturday, then make sure that you reach out to Ken. He provided his number of 313-819-7065. I want to
Thank
thank
you,
you for,
Sonia.
of course, I want to thank you all for joining. Make sure you share this with others. And as always, I am Sonia and Weaver. I encourage you to spend with purpose because your dollar does matter, and deal with Bob. Have an amazing night. I'll see you
Bye.
soon.
Thank you.